episode 157. I believe achieving success in the outdoor biz is dependent upon embracing the outdoor lifestyle and learning from outdoor leaders that came before you. If you agree, then listen up for tips, advice, and hacks about growing or starting your career in the outdoor biz. My name is Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Super fun conversation today with JD Platt. He is one busy guy with JD Sup, his Canine Kings flying dogs, and more. But before we get into that, if you're feeling overwhelmed by podcasting or are just looking for a bit of direction with your overall strategy, I'd love to chat and help you create something appealing for your followers that also delivers a tangible business outcome. Head over to createmypodcast.com and schedule your free call today. You're going to love this entertaining conversation with JD Platt. The man is prolific. We talk about his pro snowboard career and his numerous ventures, including Canine Flying Dogs, JD Sup, AppWEAR, the Adriatic Adventure Academy, and more. Some nuggets here for everyone. Enjoy. Hey, JD, welcome to the show.
All right. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to have you on. So a mutual friend of ours, Sean Frederick, connected us, I believe. Is that correct?
He did. I'm very excited. I've got kind of a new business I think we'll maybe get into about Sean and I. But, we go way back, and I'm super excited that he connected us. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's funny. He and I grew up in, I spent my whole formative life in Fontana, but he spent some time in Fontana. That's how we connected. He somehow stumbled on something that I'd done on social media and said, "Oh, a Fontana guy," and that's how we connected.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
You guys go to school or?
Yeah, I grew up there. I lived there since I was about 6 years old, and then he spent some time in high school there, I believe. But he's a lot younger than I am. So we were in Fontana together, but at different times.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah, it's a cool place to be from. So what was your first exposure to the outdoors? How did you get the outdoor bug, so to speak?
Well, I definitely had that influence a lot from my parents growing up. I started skiing right when I was 3 years old. I kind of grew up in a military family, kind of third generation military brat, and I was, I guess, the egg that never made it. So I don't know if I'm the bad egg or what, or chose not to go. But I was born in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, on a military base, and we got shipped out to Hawaii. We lived in Kaneohe military base, and then we got shipped out to Boise, and Dad was still shooting artillery out in the desert. He was a captain in the Marine Corps and involved with tanks, and then we got over to Yakima. But when we lived over in Boise, my parents were, very active and athletic growing up, and Mom was really involved with horses and sports, and Dad was the super jock of, trying hockey and football and just anything and everything. And so they got me involved with skiing at a very early age. I have a picture actually of my first day ever skiing out in the backyard at Boise, Idaho, and the mountain up there was Bogus Basin. So that was kind of the start of the whole thing that just began to be a passion in my life. And
very cool.
Through my childhood, it just progressed into all sorts of sports, and you name it, I did it, and definitely kind of had that talent of kind of excelling at a lot of sports. So sports has definitely been a really pretty much incredible part of my life, and made careers out of it. So yeah, that was it. Bogus Basin, Boise, Idaho.
Do you still ski?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Good.
I don't know if you want to get into that, my dabbling of that, but I actually became a ski racer.
I saw that. Yeah, you're a pro snowboarder, right? That's how you met with Sean, correct?
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. But it all started from skiing. Snowboarding really didn't pretty much exist back in the 70s, and little things happening here and there. But yeah, I was a big junior Olympic ski racer, and
oh wow.
I was probably top 15 in the West Coast of doing all the events in ski racing, and tons of events I did really well with around the Northwest, and was part of the Mount Baxter Ski Education Foundation and the Junior Olympic program that kind of helps you build up to the Olympics and all that. So, but somebody, my buddy, I'll never forget, Jason Pinckney, a friend here locally, showed me this thing called a snowboard back in 1983, and tried it a couple times, and I was a big skateboarder, the old Tony Hawk early days, and all the stuff with Paul Perot. Oh my gosh, just the days of the 80s of skateboarding, and just was really addicted to skating skating, so I was skateboarding and ski racing, and I tried this snowboard thing, and it was this combination of developing this talent that I kind of got I picked up really, really fast.
This is a natural, yeah.
Yeah, so lo and behold,
Did you go to the
ski race?
Did you go to the Olympics?
No, I didn't with snowboarding, and I might have been on a path with ski racing, but I decided to quit every single thing that had to do with ski racing in 1988. And I'll never forget all my parents and coaches and everybody just kind of like, what are you doing? You're wasting a career on this sport that doesn't exist. But I got sponsored right out of high school, and that started my first career and where I am today in my life of in the snow industry. And so I toured and was a top professional for over 13 years, and all sorts of stories and wonderful things I did in the sport. But yeah, it was a good ride.
Very cool. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
No, thanks. Appreciate it. So so now I'm back skiing again. I love all the new ski equipment. I kind of do 60-40, 50-50, and got big old fat skis from a sponsor of mine here locally, Snowflakes. And
got you.
I had a pro model snowboard a couple of years ago with them. And so, kind of re-energized and retired in 2000, took a sabbatical, and now I'm back again and getting my whole biz of snow.
Well, you're in the right spot for it. Ben's got some great snow up there, that's for sure.
It does. And what an amazing winter we all had across the West Coast.
No kidding.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't ski anymore down here, but man, we just got hammered again. It's fabulous. Yeah, it's a good thing.
I think you betcha for sure.
So did you have a traditional outdoor job? What was your first outdoor-related job? Skiing, pro skiing, obviously, but anything other than, did you ever work retail? Because I noticed, we're going to talk later about some of the product-related stuff that you're doing. You got a lot of things going on that side of it. How'd you get that? How'd that bug bite you?
Well, retiring in 2000 and making my last run on the mountain. I was at Mount Hood. I used to coach up at the glacier for 13 years. So, the run of snowboarding was pretty much my first, real. Is it a real job?
Okay. Yeah. No, that's good. It is a real job. Those of you kids listening, you can make money as a pro snowboarder or pro skier.
That's what the parents were trying to tell me though, through my snowboard career. Get a real job.
Right. Well, that's kind of what the podcast is all about.
Everybody views it a little bit differently now.
Exactly. Yeah. All of us outdoor folks. My dad still looks at me sideways when I tell him what I'm doing. So.
I made a living with snowboarding for 13 years, and I kind of just had a weird thing happen back in 1996 during my snowboard career. I grew up around animals, and my whole entire life we had cats and horses and dogs, and I seemed to be the kid that was always taking care of the dogs. And, I taught them cool tricks, and my dog was my transportation around town, pulling me on my skateboard, and so that was a cool deal growing up with animals. But in my career of snowboarding, I was hitchhiking home one day from Mount Bachelor back in 1996, and this guy picked me up, and we were just in conversation driving home, and I said, so sir, what do you do for a living? He goes, I'm an NFL halftime entertainer with Frisbee dogs. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's the weirdest and coolest career I've ever heard of.
Right.
So I said, hey, it's really weird you say that, because last week I had this really cool dog, a little German Shepherd Black Lab, and I went to the park for the first time and played Frisbee, and she caught like 7 out of 10 Frisbees. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. I never played Frisbee with my dog. Like, you got to come over and meet her, man. He's like, yeah, totally. I'd love to check her out. And so, so he was kind of just a guy to introduce me to this interesting world of Frisbee dogs.
Wow.
And so took me around and taught me all sorts of stuff with him, and went to competitions, and then he started hiring me. And that leads up to this incredible career of 23 years later. I've been entertaining around the country with a bunch of trick dogs, and so it's just an odd place in life of, we all have timing and right place at the right time, and just if I hadn't been there that day and that guy picked me up, I have no idea where I'd be.
Right.
Today I looked into out of my snowboard career, I looked into some careers with repping, team manager stuff. But I fell in love with this dog deal. And
that's awesome.
That last run up at...
So K9 Kings Flying Dog Show, that's the name of your business, right? And you guys still do that?
It is.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
yep.
wow.
It's my bread and butter, and pays the bills, and just had an incredible ride with it.
How many days a month are you out entertaining?
I do some stuff in the wintertime. I just kind of dabble in with some winter festivals, and I've got a sponsorship right now with Mount Bachelor, and I got a little deal where I go up and do some shows. And actually, just yesterday, I did a big festival for them with my dogs, and so I do a few things in the wintertime. It kind of slows down, and
so it's mostly a summer gig.
Yeah, it's definitely a spring summer thing. I've been doing it full time, making a living for 14 years.
Congratulations!
So thanks. Yeah, so it's been a seasonal thing of May through October, and then I get 7-8 months off to play and ride powder. So
right on, perfect.
Amazing thing in the world for me.
Yeah, that's cool. How many dogs do you have?
Yeah. In the last 23 years of meeting that gentleman, I've raised over 21 dogs.
Wow.
I'm currently on my second generation of entertainers, and I have 10 dogs right now. Two are retired, and then I have a new slew of youngsters. So I've got a whole new team of rescue dogs. And
that's cool.
Kind of trained a little bit of everything through my career with a lot of herding breeds and terriers and retrievers and fight hounds. And
any of them the better? Any of them rise to the top? Any one better than the other, or just that depends on the dog? You definitely run into dogs that have a little bit more talent than the others, and they've all done their thing and had just beautiful abilities and personalities. But I've had a couple that have definitely taken me to a whole nother level. One was my foundation dog, and her and I were on a reality show on CBS. Wow.
And, competed for $250,000, and she could just do it all. She's on Animal Planet.
Wow.
Won different titles. We were top 10 in the world for a long time, and won national stuff and state titles. And
cool.
So she was my girl that kind of helped start it all. But now there's a whole generation of just big air dogs and little crazy little terriers. And little dogs I use for comedy, and I had a whippet one time. One of my whippets I trained one time was pretty much close to breaking a world record with distance. And
wow!
So I love my dogs.
Cool. Yeah,
they're my family, and they're really fun.
Is all that
busy?
Is all that big air and jumping? Is that hard on their joints, or do they have issues with that?
Half the population of dogs these days, unfortunately, are overweight. So one of the biggest things with the jumping is keeping them physically fit. Mm-hmm. And then I have to do it a lot with the breeds. I'm using breeds that are just built to be athletic.
Yeah,
they want to work. They want to jump. They want to run. They want to sprint. So as long as those two factors are kind of together, it's never been a problem. I've never had. You get little quirky little pulls here and there, but within a day or two, it's done. And obviously knowing what you're doing also with jumping them and not pushing them past the limit of hurting themselves helps, and having experience with frisbee and all the jumps that we do. But never had any problems. We absolutely love it. Yeah,
and you must also be an expert at all the nutrition and eating the right foods and all that stuff too. I mean, that's huge with animals, any animal really.
Absolutely. You betcha. It's like I have a great dog food sponsor called Petcuria, and they provide me with some of the best nutrition in the world, and not overfeeding and giving them table scraps and keeping them physically fit. It's been not a problem. So
right on.
Yeah.
So Sean also told me about JD Sup, a stand-up paddleboard brand I think you just launched. What was how new is that, and where'd that inspiration come from?
Well, I've had my paddleboard company out for over a year now, coming up on my second season, and I've had a lot of sponsors through my life. I've been very lucky to be involved with sponsorships with snowboarding, and I went into my dog business and kind of brought the experience of all the stuff that I pursued with snowboarding into the dog world, and kind of pursued some stuff that nobody else had really achieved in dogs. And I had a shoe sponsor for over 6 years, Keen Footwear, and I've had dog food sponsors and just great contracts of, just really taking care of me. And so my dream all along of having this experience and promoting so many other companies and doing a lot of things like that is I wanted my own brand. I've been helping, design products and test products and endorse other people, and still to this day, absolutely love doing that. I would never become a dog food manufacturer or anything like that. So all these other brands I'm representing still just in the core of me to kind of be that marketing guy and getting the word out and helping expose brands to people. But I always wanted my own brand. So, I just kind of saw some interesting things. I was introduced to paddleboarding about 5-6 years ago, and my first experience with it was I was with a friend up at the lake here locally in Elk Lake, and he was doing some really cool like flat land tricks, like these pivot turns, and trying to almost like dance or walk across the water. I called it just on his board, and I was like, wow, I just see so many people paddling around town, and
they just stand there and paddle.
They just stand there, exactly. Just kind of just going straight, and I've seen little pivot turns, that they do in racing and stuff around buoys, but this guy was kind of taking it to a whole nother level. And it was like, that is so cool, dude. And started trying it, and it was difficult. I love the balance aspect of it, and falling in the water and getting back up and trying it. And then, of course, being a dog guy, I really started analyzing all these people paddling with their dogs. And I tried it myself, and bought a board, rented a couple boards, and when I tried inflatables, I definitely noticed they had a little bit better traction on the boards. But I still felt there was a lack of designs for dogs, and so my mind's just been a product guy my whole life, full of ideas. And so I found a manufacturer, and he built me some prototypes, my first ever freestyle twin tip prototypes. And then I built a prototype that was a canine touring board, and went through those prototypes and changed a bunch of things, and went through my second run of prototypes through, over a year and a half, I think it was, of doing that. And I met a guy around here locally that helped me kind of push this to the next level, and he got me some funding. So,
right on.
So I'm into my second season, and I built some stuff that's doesn't really exist in the industry. I'm just kind of pushing the limits of, designs. I see a lot of really stagnant shapes out there in the industry, and my mind sees the shapes of what I've been working on, the designs of snowboards, and I see ski shapes and wakeboards and kiteboards, and everybody's going really crazy with these shapes these days, and a lot of them are very, very functional. So I built a shape that's really different. The manufacturer I'm working with, him and I have access to the only retractable fins in the industry.
I was just looking at that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing, man. I run into a lot of lava rock around here in Central Oregon, and definitely get into some pretty shallow areas that it's very difficult to get through to get out to the deeper water. And these retractable fins, it's absolutely amazing.
It's huge,
complete game changer. You don't lose any performance, but you get into the shallow waters or rocks, and you don't get that pitch feeling where you hit a rock on any other fin and you're going to go over the nose and in the water. These just retract, and you just go right through everything and get up under the shore. You can put your board down on the ground and not have to flip it over.
That's amazing.
So my touring boards have a 9-inch retractable fin that will retract to about 2-3 inches, and then my freestyle and yoga boards have a 100% retractable fin.
Wow.
So,
cool.
So I'm just kind of getting in the industry. It's not super saturated. I understand what I was getting involved with, but I felt if I was going to enter an industry that's saturated, I better come up with something different.
Yeah.
By golly, I did, from the shapes to the fins to all my different handles. I've taken my EVA decks, the top traction deck, and extended it way up on all of my boards.
So it looks like it goes all across the board. Yeah, you have full traction end to end.
Yeah, it helps not only for ourselves, but mostly the dogs, especially when they get up onto the nose of the boards. They and I have a tendency to slip around with the EVA deck. Man, they're locked and loaded.
Right.
All my yoga and freestyle boards, as far as doing all the maneuvers and yoga.
So do you have do you have a dealer network, or how are you? What's the distribution? Are you just selling it direct?
Right now, I'm focusing pretty much on direct.
Yep.
I had a couple stores here locally in town that carried my boards last year, but I'm focusing mostly on online sales and just trying to build. It's real grassrootsy. I'm going guerrilla marketing style, man. I buy hats and I toss them out to people and do some little local festivals and get a 10x10 booth up, and I do some demo days up at a local lake. And
there you go.
I've been super excited to introduce some of the first. Actually, I think the first freestyle competitions in the world.
Oh, cool.
Where we do routines, and I watched the paddleboard industry for years, and being a competitor, I just, especially with the combination of my snowboard background with all the half pipes and big air events I did, then now being an entertainer, is I wanted to bring kind of that aspect to the paddleboard world, and I watch all these races, and races are just kind of races. I respect them, and they're amazing athletes, but they just kind of disappear into the distance, and it's just kind of paddle left, paddle right. I wanted to do some tricks and have some music playing, and so these freestyle competitions have been awesome, man. I've been doing it about 3 years now, and launching off the docks, and I want to build like paddleboard parks where we got obstacles out in the water and jibbing and people doing tricks, and there's comedy, and there's people falling, and we got music blaring. And then last year, I introduced one of the first ever dog paddleboard races. So it's that race aspect, but you want to see some pretty funny stuff, watching dogs try to get down to the shore and jump onto the boards and loops around, and you got to have your dog off leash. And so I'm kind of growing a couple different new segments into the paddleboard world, and seeing where we can take that. So it's been really exciting, man. I love having my own brand and make my own hats and T-shirts and doing all these events, and it all ties into. I bring my entertainment with my dogs to a lot of these.
I was going to say that. I was going to ask you that. Do you have the dogs jumping off with the frisbees and all that stuff? That'd got to be very cool, challenging. I'll bet.
Oh yeah, and I've done a couple paddleboard events, and just the outdoor industry is just classic. There's so many people with dogs. I mean, must be 95% of the industry. Everybody's got dogs.
Exactly.
So,
right.
Yeah. So I just kind of multitask and bring a couple different businesses together, and it's been a good ride. I'm looking forward. It's finally getting warm out, so all my marketing and everything with my paddleboard companies blasting out again to the internet.
Get back after it.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Thank you.
So, and then also, I see you're Chief of Comfort at AppWEAR. Tell our listeners a little bit about AppWEAR. I was checking that out, too. That looks pretty cool. You got some cool stuff going on, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a busy guy. I got a son on top of it, all these dogs.
That's all right. Hey, man, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, multiple incomes, right?
That's it. Multiple streams, right? You never know when one's going to slow down, so... So AppWEAR looks like AppWEAR is heated clothing that you can control with your app on your phone. Is that it?
It is. Yep.
Wow. Cool.
I've been an outdoor guy my whole life at the mountains, and I've never ever tried heated clothing.
Yeah.
So last year, I don't know how many times I do business on the chairlift up at mountains.
You're not alone.
Yeah, so super social, and I was just kind of getting conversation with people, and I was sitting there with a buddy of mine, and we look over at each other, and we're like, dude, my toes are so cold. And it is one of those 0-degree days, wind chills. Our toes are frozen, and this guy, he's just kind of giggling. I'm like, hey, how's it going, sir? He's like, good. He goes, I'm going to be a lot better right now when I turn up my my socks and my phone right now. And I feel like,
what?
You got to be kidding me. Exactly. I'm like, oh my gosh. So ironically, I was at the Denver SIA Outdoor Retailer Trade Show a week prior to seeing this guy in the chairlift. And I was with one of my sponsors, and I bring in my dogs in his booth and hang out at the trade show and draw people in. And our neighbor at the trade show was a heated clothing company. So it was my first kind of like conversation with this company over the 3 days. It's like, tell me about your clothes and this and that, and the gloves. And had a heated, bunch of stuff. And so here I am on the chairlift with this guy, and he's turning up his socks. I'm like, dude, I just was introduced to heated clothing. And he goes, yeah, I'm starting this new company, AppWEAR. And, we get up to the top, and I'm like, oh, I hope to see you around, man. And, he's got gloves on, heated, and the socks turning up. So lo and behold, he goes to the left. I go to the right with my buddy. We get down to the bottom of the chairlift. Boom, there we are again.
Wow,
right up the chairlift.
Perfect.
So exactly. So we get in conversation more, and I think at the top of that chairlift, I looked over at him. I'll never forget. I looked him into his goggles, and I said, dude, I'm going to work for you one day. This is the coolest thing I've ever heard of, never seen in the ski and snowboard industry. So AppWEAR, we're brand new heated, and we're actually going to be making cooling clothing.
Oh.
We're on a Kickstarter campaign right now, raising money. We're looking at funding to get this whole thing launched, but it's changed my life, man. It's just the most amazing thing to take a high quality piece of clothing, go up to the mountain, and if you're stuck on the chairlift, you're at the bottom of the lift for a lift to open. It's a situation where you didn't layer enough.
Right.
Be able to turn on your clothing and who doesn't like heated?
Oh my God! I tell you, as a photographer, standing out in the cold in Wyoming or wherever, waiting for the sun to come up or go down, and you can't wear enough socks to keep your feet warm. So that'd be huge.
Boy, I tell you, photographers, when you take your gloves off,
right,
do all your photos, and you have to put your hands back in your gloves to put it back into heat.
Oh my God!
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Yeah, it's an interesting industry. There's a lot of companies out there that make heated clothing, but they haven't really pushed into the ski snowboard world. Their designs are just kind of really subtle and just kind of.
It's kind of an afterthought.
Boring.
It looks like. They had a good idea and they kind of tried it, but they didn't kind of get it to the end zone, right? They got it almost there, but yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of clothing, heated clothing for motorcycles. I think motorcycles and hunters have been big with it for a long time.
Right.
But why is it in the mountains, man? It's cold up in the mountains. So,
Exactly.
So I've been involved with Chief of Comfort, just kind of the broad spectrum of I do product testing. I help with a lot of the marketing. I'm doing some social media with Instagram and Facebook for them. I've kind of converted my whole life into buying all these GoPros and cameras for my businesses and myself personally. And so I'm doing some shooting photos, filming, and helping with team manager stuff. So it's just kind of infant stage right now. We're going to grow this hopefully into a big global heated clothing company. And one of our biggest things is we got the most powerful app out there. So we're going to have tracking of yourself up on the mountain and trails. And all of it's controlled off the phone, which most companies have, but we have 4 levels of heat compared to other people with 3. And there's going to be temperature controlled thermostats built in through the app. And so, it's a very exciting adventure, and hope to be on the road for the next whatever years, doing a lot of promotional and events and marketing and stuff. So
man, if you need a gear tester or a product guy, let me know. I'd love to be involved in that. Like I say, I can't tell you how many times I've been standing out wishing I had heated socks, heated gloves, heated something. It's phenomenal.
Now, are you in Bishop? Do you go to Mammoth more or June? Because I've done both in my snowboard career, and I'll never forget a day up at June Mountain having about 4 feet of new snow.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I've never skied at June. I don't ski anymore. My knees are hammered. My knees are just totally shot. So unfortunately, I don't ski anymore. But I spent most of my time at Mammoth and also backcountry. A lot of backcountry skiing. Yeah, from we do Mammoth to Yosemite and circumnavigate various peaks outside of Bishop. Yeah, I'm fortunate to know a bunch of great mountain guides around Bishop. So a lot of backcountry stuff. Yeah, super fun.
Oh man, it's beautiful country up there. I saw the coolest photo of a guy standing next to a snowbank about a week ago at Mammoth. Like 60 feet.
Yep. Yeah, we got hammered this year. Yeah. And it's the spring. It's just hitting right now. I mean, the backcountry is just getting good right now, and they'll be skiing backcountry well into late June. I'm assuming, maybe even July. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So Sean Frederick connected us, and he's a pro snowboard photographer, pro photographer, and he also just launched Adriatic Adventure Academy, which you're involved in a little bit too, right? Tell us about that.
Well, Sean called me. We've been friends since the early 90s, and he had a very successful career of photography. And we always just kind of connected through we didn't really work a lot together. He was kind of tied into some other brands, but I think we shot quite a few times on tour with half pipes and things like that. We always just really were good friends. We always just kind of connected through our snowboard career, and we lost, he got out of the snowboard world and I got out of it. We just kind of lost contact, like good old Facebook. We just kind of, friended each other and just kind of followed and liked and did all that fun stuff for a long time. And next thing you know, he gets a hold of me and he says, "Hey, JD, I'm starting this new company over in Croatia, and we're going to be doing some stuff with inflatable paddleboards, and I'd like to kind of just pick your brain on what you're doing and what's going on with your brand." And so it just kind of reconnected us, and I really just fell in love with his whole concept of what he was pursuing over in Croatia. His wife's from Croatia, and they just saw, an interesting niche of doing some adventure retreats over there.
Yeah.
So I just kind of decided, I think this is a really good business adventure. I love Sean. He's one of the most professional people I've ever met, and the background with him and his wife just seemed to really piece together to where I really wanted to become a partner of this whole company. So
cool.
I'm kind of financially involved. And
nice. Have you get to go over there? Have you been over there?
I have not yet.
Okay.
So it's
looks great. His photos are great, but it just looks like a cool place, doesn't it? Man.
Oh, I agree. I just to not even go over there and just see photos, like, oh my goodness,
yeah, exactly.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
we got a couple ski resorts.
Right.
Just love the whole landscape.
Yep. The light. There's something about the way the light hits the landscape is just, man, it's beautiful.
I hear you. Blue waters, very similar seasons is where we both live. So so. We've got adventure retreats, photography retreats. You can do custom retreats right now, and this is our first year launching this whole business over there. And his wife are going over there and get everything established. And we got a lot of great connections over there, and then we're going to push into some other segments of what we feel could happen over there with paddleboarding and things.
It's awesome. Yeah, good, very cool.
Yeah.
So, of all these things, do you have any one or the other that you're most proud of, or maybe was the most challenging of all your adventures?
Oh goodness, great question.
Or something you learned the most from?
It's kind of like someone asking me, "So which dog is your favorite?"
Well, that's what I thought when I put that question down. I thought, how am I going to tweak this a little bit? Because that's tough, right? It's impossible to answer.
It's a toughie because all of them I'm super, super passionate about. I put a lot of hard work into every single one of them. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's a dream to have my own brand, but my dogs and putting the smiles on the faces I do and touching people's lives has always been, built into my spirit and soul. And so, they all, I hate to say, they all just kind of feel equal in the sense.
Yeah. Did you have any significant learnings from one over the other, or were they all just? I mean, it's a challenge launching anything, as anybody who's done that knows. But did you learn more from one or the other, or one was particularly easy?
Well, it's a little bit. I wouldn't say it's not easy at all. Don't get me wrong. As
right.
far as starting my canine business,
maybe it's more simple.
I've turned into an RV mechanic and
right.
a DJ, and
right, jack of all trades.
I guess starting the business with my canines helped kind of get myself to the point of where I'm doing my own brand, and a lot of sponsors I've had over the years have taught me a lot of stuff. Just to where I'm taking that and pushing it into my own brand. But
gotcha. Yeah.
They're both outdoor oriented. They're people oriented. They're things that are very passionate, that people love dogs. They love outdoor activities. So they all kind of feed off of each other, to where I'm I guess owning my own brand now, there's a lot more involved later on with like running more stuff and marketing campaigns. But that's all been, I've learned and kind of translated from just the early days of snowboarding. And I was that guy that I was wanting to be involved with reps and meetings, and I wasn't just like, I just want to be a pro snowboarder. I don't want to,
Yeah, you got a lot of good exposure doing that. Yeah, that's huge. Smart of you to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of branched off even in the early days of just being more involved with companies rather than just being sponsored, and that translates definitely into what I'm doing today. So, they're all love. That's for sure, man. I feel very blessed.
Well, they're all pretty fun. Looks like. It sounds like you're having fun.
Yeah,
That's
they
awesome.
are.
Yeah, right.
A lot of fun. A lot of responsibility, but we all have that in life.
That's right. Can't get away with that. Yeah. Yeah. How about? Have you had any mentors that have helped you along the way? Any unique people that stand out?
Well, we always, sometimes not all of us, but my parents were big in my life and got me involved in the outdoor industry. My mom was in the golf business for a long time, so she was a buyer of some golf shops and was always athletic and teaching me a lot about the business of sports and running a shop. And she managed a ski shop growing up, so I always saw kind of the whole living and breathing of outdoor activities and stuff. My father's been definitely my dad's always been that kind of Marine Corps focus and work hard. Maybe he was a little confused on the careers I chose.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
And then, of course, the mentors I have this day in the industries I'm involved with, the guy, just out of the blue, the guy that picked me up, Perry Lenhart.
Right, yeah.
He's a dear friend of mine to this day. He was my mentor in disc dogs. Getting into the paddleboard industry, there's a gentleman named Peter Hall that runs a company called Hall Gear. He was kind of a mentor with what I was doing, what I was trying to get involved with, the concept I was presenting. Is this going to be successful? He's always there to kind of guide me a little bit. And then in the dog world, also a guy named Bill Waters that was one of the founding fathers of entertainment, had one of the most famous dogs. And so, I definitely have those out there for sure.
Very cool. That's great, yeah. And do you work with any nonprofits in any of your brands, or you personally?
With the dog world, that's been a big part of my business, and I absolutely love animals, and I adore all the animal shelters out there. So I really tied my business into trying to raise money as much as I can through my business of offering my services and doing events for a lot of nonprofits with animal shelters.
Oh, very cool.
That's been a big part of my life, and I just think there's a lot of dogs out there that need homes, and I try to rescue as much as I can. And so, the nonprofits, and now with paddleboarding, I'm trying to tie myself into a lot of river alliances and water conservations, and snowboard industry. I haven't done a lot of stuff, but I love an old friend of mine, Jeremy Jones Snowboarders. He does stuff with POW, protecting our winners. Obviously, you protect your winners. What's it lead up to is we get water.
Exactly.
So it's we can't be paddleboarding and have a business if we don't have water, lakes, and rivers to be out there. So that's going to be definitely something I'm going to pursue more in the future with my paddleboard industry and try to help.
That's great.
Be part of things like that.
Cool. And obviously, you do all the activities related to your brands. You do any other outdoor activities that you like to participate in? Mountain bike, any of that kind of stuff?
I do. I've been just addicted to sports my entire life, and I have a son right now that's 13 years old, and I'm now a brand new hockey dad. So the world of ice hockey has been presented to me, and Bend, Oregon actually never had an ice hockey rink until a couple of years ago.
Wow.
So I absolutely love ice hockey. I dabble in it just a little bit, but growing up, I did it all, man. I did the soccer, the basketball, the baseball, the football, but my main focus has been a lot of some sideways sports of skateboarding, snowboarding, wakeboarding, wake surfing. I'm a big time mountain biker. I grew up around the golf industry my whole life, so I've been competitive with golf, and I played tennis and tried pickleball next week.
Right, yeah.
Sports is just, it engulfs my life. I love it. I love staying in shape. I live in one of the most amazing sports culture towns in the world.
And pretty much good weather year round, right? You guys can do stuff year round, something.
We can, So,
that's the way it is. We're here at Bishop, same thing. Yeah, we're fortunate.
Yeah. I golfed yesterday and went skiing today.
Nice. I golfed Sunday.
Going dancing and having beer tonight.
All right, there you go.
Have just a little bit of beer in Bend, Oregon.
Just a couple. Yep, just a couple. Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor biz or grow their career or launch a brand? You have so much experience.
You betcha. A big thing for me is dreams can come true. It takes a lot of hard work and passions, and I guess I'm a living example of pursuing some careers that just a lot of people just don't do. I mean, with canine entertainment, there's like 10 of us in the world that do it.
Yeah.
I went for a dream of becoming a professional athlete and pursuing a sport that now is obviously huge. But, you know, if you think you got the talent, you know, be realistic towards what you're pursuing to know what you're up against. But, you know, if you have a creative mind and you want to pursue something, go for it, man. I love being an entrepreneur, and, you know, it's made for some and not others. But I guess my biggest advice is just patience and hard work and pursuing your dreams. You can achieve anything.
That's great
for
advice.
Sure.
Yep, that's great advice. Yep. Do you have any daily routines to keep your sanity? Meditate? Obviously, you get a lot of exercise.
Well, routine-wise, I'm just a busy guy all the time. My son is like 5-6 days a week of hockey, but probably one of the things that keeps me sane the most is my physical body. I don't care if I spend 5 minutes to an hour. It's been incorporated in my life forever, and I've been very blessed, and maybe it is a little bit of a correlation of it, but stretching. Stretching to me is definitely keeping the joints, the muscles, everything loose. And I went to the extent of like, okay, I'm getting older. I'm going to buy a hot tub, man. So
right on.
Bought my own hot tub. So it sounds quirky. It sounds really weird.
No, hey, hot water is amazing. Does great things to your body.
Yeah. You betcha. It keeps me loose, and I love powerful jets. I've been stretching in the hot tub ever since I was 18 years old with the whole snowboard thing all the way up till now. So my knees are still somewhat intact. I haven't had major surgeries. I blew up both my Achilles decades ago, so I got to kind of take care of stuff like that. But yeah, stretching to me, just even if it's the basic, you know, we used to joke in a few teams I was on, just everybody team stretch. 5-minute little deal, you know, get some little pops and cracks and all that.
Yeah.
Preps you up for the day on the mountain or whatever. So I don't really have a daily routine with myself, but stretching, even if it's just in bed before I go to bed, or
that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, it's one of the things people have always admonished me, even when I was back playing football in high school. And, you know, stretch, and I never did enough of it. You wonder in hindsight, man, maybe I wouldn't be as banged up now if I did. So that's a good advice. I like it.
Thank you. Don't you feel like stretching right now?
I kind of do. And I always commit to it, right? Okay, I'm going to start the stretching program. It lasts about 2 days. You know, it's just, I don't know what it is. I just lifted up off my chair and popped my back.
There
you go. Right on. Are you a big reader? Do you read a lot? Do you have any favorite books?
You know, if I was to probably regret a lot of things in life, it would be I'm just not a big reader.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I think I said a little.
Well, you're pretty dang busy, so I'm not sure you have time to read.
Finding time, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more that magazine guy, magazine articles and.
What are some of your favorite magazines?
Local newspapers. I do kind of the sports stuff.
Yeah.
Outdoor magazines and golf and snowboarding and paddleboarding and.
It's all related to your brands, yeah.
Yeah, and some dog world kind of stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I haven't been a big guy my whole life.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. I read a lot of magazines too, and it's a lot of, you can get a lot of great information. There's so many great magazines out there, so that's a form of reading. I consider that viable. I mean, come on, there's some great articles and great magazines and good stuff.
And I guess this day and age now it's shifting over to our darn phones and computers.
Online, yeah, exactly.
But, so, yeah.
How about a favorite piece of outdoor gear under $100? That might be easy for you with the dogs.
Well, good question. Well, I guess it kind of reminds me of stretching is hydration. Hydration to me, oh boy, I've read it for years, and now I'm really starting to try to focus on it, and it feels really good. I saw something the other day. My dad, unfortunately, had a stroke recently, and I went to his VA hospital, and they had this little banner of how. how important and the benefits of your health of drinking water right in the morning, right when you wake up.
I heard that a lot.
If you do it, it's absolutely amazing how it just like dives down through your system and into your stomach, and then it like prepares you for the day or prepares you for that cup of coffee next or the breakfast or whatever.
Yeah.
So this leads up to, I was introduced to a company here years ago. They're now very successful, doing an amazing job. There's many competitors out there, but probably under $100. My favorite thing is my Hydro Flask water bottle.
Yeah.
It keeps it cold or the coffee warm.
Yep, very good.
Like days and days and days.
Exactly.
I'll put a few things of ice, and it's just like, dude, there's still ice in there. It's like 3 days later.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
So my big old fat Hydro Flask water bottle, my greatest. I use it with all my sports. Have it in my truck all the time, and take it with me. And so there we go.
I'm with you. Yep. Well, the Outdoor Biz Podcast good buddy Mike Wallenfels is I think he's VP of Sales over there. So shout out to Mike up there in Bend. Keep it up, Mike. Hydro Flask.
Awesome.
A lot of people come on the show and mention that. Actually, yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's like you said, it's great for your hot or cold. Coffee in the morning, water, whatever it is. Gin and tonics if you want to do that.
Yeah, and Mike, if you're listening, I had a dream. I'm not kidding. I had a dream of an invention for your Hydro Flask caps.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go. I'll connect you guys. Definitely. You never know. That's very cool. As we wrap up here, is there anything else you would like to say to our listeners or ask of our listeners?
Oh, just stay healthy, everybody. Life's short, and learned that recently with my father. And just another friend passed away yesterday, and I just try to live every moment like it's our last, and it's hard to do. It really is. Get a lot of stress and anxiety in our lives, and this day and age and everything. But I've always been that just positive person that just tries to smile a lot and keep life going. And
great advice.
Life is short. Live it to the limit.
Great advice. Yep. And how can people find you if they want to follow up? I'll link to all their websites and all that stuff in the show notes. But if they reach out to you on LinkedIn or Facebook, what's the best way?
Best way for me is I have a couple different websites. One is my canine business, and that's the letter K and the number 9, caninekings.com. And then my paddleboard business, so simple, JDSUP, JDSUP.com. Cool. And I can be found on Facebook under JD Platt's Canine Kings. I've got my own personal page, and then I have a JD Sup Facebook page, and those are both also on Instagram.
Okay, we'll link to all that.
Instagram, yeah. And then I have a great eyewear sponsor. I don't know if you mentioned them. I work for D-Curve Optics, and I do all their social media. Most of it with Facebook and Instagram. It's a great new eyewear company, and they invented the first ever removable foam with goggles. Super cool company.
Interesting.
They're D-Curve Optics. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram too. And
cool.
I only help out with 5 different social media accounts.
Jeez. When do you have time for all this? Man, that is phenomenal.
I don't know. Hey, I'm talking to you right now.
That's right. It's like, geez, I'm honored that you could carve out a few minutes for me. That's impressive. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's been great chatting with you, and I look forward to meeting you at a show or something. Well, for sure here in Bishop when you bring the dogs here this fall. We'll definitely connect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eastern Sierra Tri-County Fair.
That's it, maybe. Yep. Don't miss it.
Into town.
All right, man. I appreciate it, JD. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Have a great spring.
You too. See ya.
Okay, you too.
Bye. If you want more of the Outdoor Biz Podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to the OutdoorBizPodcast.com where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.